And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. It's a podcast about the news, something which the world sorely needs.
Podcasts or news?
Either,
podcast
or-
about the news.
Yeah, podcast about the news, definitely. I feel
Good thing.
inappropriately dressed today, looking at both of you.
bit
Like,
cheery.
I've been... Yeah, I'm in, for anyone not watching the stream, I'm in I'm in a Hawaiian shirt. You know, I was out and about today. It was lovely and sunny in Sydney. I was just like, oh, it's nice and airy, and wearing it. And now I'm here in a loud shirt where we're about to talk, about another presidential assassination attempt.
I mean,
so
how
it's-
else would you like to talk about another presidential
It just
assassination
doesn't
attempt
seem
if
right.
Not in Hawaiian shirt.
Like-
I should be wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
I will go get a Hawaiian shirt and I will come back.
Hawaiian shirts are underrated, I will say that. So, yeah, I'd appreciate the solidarity, but really I feel, unless I, doubled down on it and also had, a strawberry daiquiri or something with me as well to, really sell it, I feel it's weird. It's
Well,
just
Tom,
weird.
Have the
your
technology.
shirt communicates what none of us can with words. So, breaking news: Trump has been evacuated from the White House Correspondents' Dinner after shots were fired. So, U.S. President Donald Trump left the White House Correspondents' Dinner Saturday evening after Secret Service and law enforcement agents subdued an attempted gunman who ran through the security perimeter inside the hotel, according to a video released by the administration. When the president was asked at a press briefing late Saturday why he's been targeted by several attempted gunmen now, Trump said he's studied assassinations and that they often target the most impactful people and, quote, the big names.
I love that.
I hate
He's
to say
studied
I'm honored by
assassination.
that, but I've done a lot, he said. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that.
Look, there's a lot to say about Donald Trump, but he is kind of self-aware sometimes. This is up there with that, I don't think I'm getting into heaven kind of comment that he
No.
made, right?
No, you're not.
He's not oblivious to the fact that he's doing monstrous things. He's just like, oh yeah, of course. I've done heaps of things that would definitely motivate someone to want to kill me. It's weirdly self-aware.
I don't
Most
like
people,
it, but I get it.
Yeah, JD Vance would have spun this into some evangelical bullshit, but Trump was like, no, I get it. A lot of people aren't happy with all the fashy shit I'm doing. Of course they're trying to kill me.
My approval ratings in the 30s, so, I get it.
Yeah, just crazy. Yeah, maybe, wow, he's really throwing in the towel, maybe on either being president or just life in general. He's like, I get it. I'd want to shoot me too.
I was reading in this article here that he also gloated about what was going to be in his speech. He didn't get to do his speech because they cancelled the event,
Yeah.
and was kind of
Trump
gloating
said
about
that he wants to do this event over, quote, within the next 30 days, adding that he had been set to, quote, really rip it with his speech before he was escorted out. I said to my people, this would be the most inappropriate speech ever made. And I said, I don't know if I could ever be as rough as I was going to be tonight. So,
What? Was he going to get up and do the aristocrats? So there's this talent agent. Just go.
he's just getting up there, just riffing, just like, what else? What else? You guys seen this Melania movie? Crazy, right?
Yeah, he's just dropping his best 9/11 gear.
Okay. An Iranian, a Jew, and an American walk into a bar. We bombed the bar.
So I don't know if we know too much about sort of the who and the why yet, but I'm sure that will come out in
yeah.
due course.
I mean, I was listening to the 5 o'clock news today here in Australia. So this is on the hours after it happened, and I didn't note the name of the guy, but they had announced who the attempted
accused
assassin was. And that they'd previously made comments of wanting to shoot Trump cabinet members. So there seems to be a lot coming out kind of already. I don't have it firsthand, so I'm not going to just spout it off here, but I think the who and the why, seems like they kind of know at this point. Yeah, just crazy. Did you see that Carolyn Leavitt
Levitt. Yeah.
said before like at the start of the night, like on like just not like a red carpet entrance, but like, you know, before the event had started, and journalists talking to people, they were talking to her, and she was going like, oh, like she was bigging up Trump's speech, but she said like, oh, it's gonna be huge, it's gonna be a great speech, and she actually said there will be some shots fired tonight.
Unfortunately.
About that,
Unfortunate
which
framing.
in retrospect, not great. Or maybe she knew.
Or maybe the staff that is around is actually Susie Wiles in disguise. She's like, we absolutely under no circumstances can we let him actually make this speech. He is fully unhinged, off the chain, false
Yes,
flag. We got to get him
inside
out of
job.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I defined it. I mean, the
I'm not-
White
that's
House
not-
correspondence.
to be
dinner
clear for the
is-
internet commenters, not a real conspiracy theory. It's a joke. Jokes are sometimes things that you say that aren't actually true for comedic effect. So just so you know, sometimes we say things that aren't actually factual fucking reporting on the situation because it's a comedy show. So there you go.
Still,
You're
angry
still
about
sour.
Silverwater.
They're so mean
So
to me
sour about
online.
that.
It really ruins my day when I open up the app and I just see oop, loop, loop. It's just like 10 different ways of telling me I'm a fucking idiot. It's actually not great.
We have done that to ourselves.
Yes.
I do. Yeah, I this is for the White House the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right? This is the event.
Yeah. Room full
So
of
it's-
journalists.
It's
A room full of
generally a time
journalists.
where people like make fun of the president. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a jovial like, isn't it fun that we're all in the fucking boys club? Like, president's a bit of a cunt. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's meant to be about sort of, you know, the concept of celebrating free speech, the First Amendment, as it were, and I just find it odd that there's a president hosting this. You know, the president hosts it for the press call, and in this case here, this particular president has done more to sort of curb free speech in the United States over the last
Than
2
anyone.
terms of government than anyone, and they're still doing this event, and
so
they're all
weird
still
that they were so
and they're
chummy
all
and happy to
they're
go,
all
I guess.
but
yeah.
that's the thing that gets me.
Washington
Everyone's,
Post, like, we've got a fucking cracker of an investigation into Kash Patel, which we released this week. Anyway, see you Friday. Like, what?
it's just an
We're on
odd.
table 9, so we'll be really close. We'll see you guys. You'll be up on the dais. We'll say hi. Like,
Just seems like a really odd event to run, or to attend. I guess is probably a better way of putting it. If you are a not even left leaning, just a centrist news organization at this point. But anyway, so that happened last night.
So it was like-
No, it was like this morning. I
Yeah,
remember
okay.
checking.
Okay.
I happened to just be scrolling ABC when it happened. I saw the alert come through. I was like, what?
I mean, they were pretty quick
yeah.
on it. From the video that I saw, there was
Oh, yeah.
SWAT gear, like you came out from the wings
That's-
almost instantaneously.
That's
So.
what they're trained to do. Like, you know, like all the Secret Service training and all that is to just rush straight in. Funny, like, little bit of trivia. It's the same hotel where Reagan got shot. So it has a bit of a,
no.
a history of
Oh, no.
attempted presidential assassination.
Can you imagine being the owners of the hotel just being like, man.
we got to get some
We gotta-
security. We
we've
got to get
gotta-
some scanners out the front. We got to do something about this.
Oh,
guys.
my God.
This is not great for us.
Yeah.
I mean, second time's bad luck. Is third time? Is
Third
that,
time.
Is that when you?
Third time is carelessness.
You lean
Yeah.
in. You just lean
Yeah.
into it. You're like, well, I guess this is the hotel.
Here's where presidents come to die, I guess.
Oh, well, or more, you know, the attempt to assassinate a president once, shame on John Hinckley. Attempt to assassinate a president twice, shame on the president, right? That's how the expression goes.
I
Yeah,
suppose.
something like that.
Uh,
But I'm just
so
kind
we are straying dangerously close to defamation here. I mean, we're not gonna say anything that gets us in trouble, but you know, you all know what we're thinking
Yeah.
because you thought it too.
Yeah, you thought it too. Did anyone else wake up Friday, our time, and was just like, we were lied to, man? Because we passed it. We passed the countdown.
Yeah,
the
so-
countdown from that, that PhD
Yeah,
guy.
epistemic crisis on Instagram. He's got
Epistemic
this
crisis.
You mean the guy
long-running
just
series about how
saying
Trump's
shit?
brain is melting and how he's
Yeah.
going to get removed from office any minute now. And,
And
we
was
passed the
counting
counter.
down and down and down. Like, he even, when I saw him say, we're in a 3-day window, I was like, wow, you are staying really specific. And when he was like, today, by the end of today, I'm like, if it happens, you are gonna have jackbooted thugs up your asshole in like seconds. If
Just
you've got
doomsday preachers, right? You just got to adjust the schedule a little bit. You know, you have a date, you hit the date, and then you readjust. You say, actually, the calculations in the book weren't right. We got to revisit it. Maybe God spared us. You know,
but just the idea that if you've been for 4 months, because he started like in December,
it was like
and his
November,
timeline's
December,
been current, right? He said like 3 to 4 month window, 2 to 3 month window, and getting more and more specific till Thursday, April 23rd. If he had got it to the day after 4 months of sticking to that timeline,
maybe you don't want to get it to the day.
That
Maybe
looks real bad for you, my dude.
Maybe that's the thing. You don't want to get it to the day. You want to get it in the region.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get it too bang on. Otherwise, people start asking questions. What did you know and when did you know it? But in epistemic crisis's defense, like the president has been increasingly unhinged over months. Like there's footage going around today I saw of him like fully getting like straight up like REM sleep in the middle of a fucking televised cabinet meeting where some guy's talking behind him and he's just
just out. And then
just looking
like,
down at his desk.
And he does the, and then he does the, like, sort of like, fuck. Like, it's just like, clearly this is a guy whose brain is not fully functioning. It's clearly melting. I think to ascribe any particular, like, timeline to that is probably misguided. But I don't think he's wrong in his assessment, you know.
No.
His weird sort of sucking back spit and all these sort of things, his weird sort of like, you know, these weird gait and like clearly this is a man who's dealing with a number of different health problems. But to say he's going to drop, have to get removed from office or aspirate on a Big Mac on the 23rd seems like
specifically April 23rd was like, okay, what it almost had me going, what do you know? What do you know?
What do you know?
Have a guy on the inside who knows they're going to drop the 25th Amendment?
Guys, he's just an Instagrammer who's looking for clicks and it engages. Because the engagement go up and he keeps doing what he's doing and the engagement keeps going up. And
he's just a guy like us just talking on the internet. Yes. So apropos of nothing, July 21. All right, so Kash Patel.
The thing is, like, you have to sort of think of this gunman who's presumably gone in to like try and assassinate Trump. It's like, bro, just like Father Time will change the regime. You know, it's like assassinating Ayatollah Khomeini. It's like, the man is so old and so ill. Like time will just do the job for you. You don't need to go to jail for the rest of your life for the purposes of I don't know. We don't obviously support violence. FBI, please don't come knock on our door. We're not advocating the murder of the president. But obviously, just keep all of that in mind, internet commenters.
I'm kind of annoyed about it because it sort of meant we had to spend an extra 13 minutes talking about that, which we otherwise didn't have to.
That's all right. Let's talk about Kash Patel. Cash money. Cash me outside, baby. Kash Patel, there's a report from The Atlantic this week. I was wrong. It wasn't the Washington Post. I misspoke earlier. Everyone just relax. Everyone take a deep breath. Calm down.
George, you're a colossal piece of shit and everything you've said thus far then is invalidated and meaningless.
Tom, I am a colossal piece of shit, but for different reasons. Kash Patel has alarmed colleagues with episodes of excessive drinking and unexplained absences. Piece titled "The FBI Director is MIA." So we'll have this in the show notes because it's quite a long-running piece, which has, I think it was over 24 sources, people contributing to the knowledge of what happened in this story. So a highly sourced report. And Kash Patel has said, not only is that not true, but I am taking you to court and suing you for $250 million or something like that. So
how do they come up with these figures?
$11 squillion.
Yeah.
So on Friday, April 10th, as FBI Director Kash Patel was preparing to leave work for the weekend, he struggled to log on to an internal computer system. He quickly became convinced that he had been locked out and he panicked, frantically calling aides and allies to announce that he had been fired by the White House, according to 9 people familiar with his outreach. 2 of these people described his behavior as, quote, a freak out. Patel oversees an agency that employs roughly 38,000 people, including many who are trained to investigate and verify information that can be presented under oath in a court of law. News of his emotional outburst ricocheted through the bureau, prompting chatter among officials and in some corners of the building, expressions of relief. The White House fielded calls from the bureau and from members of Congress asking who was now in charge of the FBI. Turned out the answer was still Patel. He had not been fired. It was just an IT matter. But obviously,
as someone who works
pretty...
in IT, sometimes logins, like
Yeah.
there's the systems fail, like a bad token, or like I don't know, your privileges aren't quite
Refresh
set
your
up right.
browser.
Windows
maybe
single
just-
sign-on is uniquely
Yeah.
the worst piece of software I've ever used in any company ever.
Yeah, like the handshake didn't work, like, you know, on behalf of compared to there's a lot of shit going on in SSO.
Have you tried
So-
logging in with an incognito browser? Sometimes
Yeah.
that solves it for some unknown fucking reason. So.
Yeah, flick it to incognito, or you have to sign out of every open tab you have
Oh,
and
right,
just
okay.
completely close the browser. You need a new session.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a lot that can go on, but it really goes to show how this administration operates, in that so many people must have clearly realized that they've been fired because they suddenly don't have access to
yeah.
anything.
He
That
is-
they
he-
immediately go, "Ah!"
He is utterly paranoid, but just because you're paranoid doesn't mean someone's not out to get you,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah,
in this case, he seems to me to be appropriately concerned about his tenure at the FBI because he is a colossal fuck up, and as this article points out, a drunk. So it goes on to talk about how the FBI requested breach equipment, specifically because Kash Patel had been found unresponsive in his office a number of times, and that they were worried that they wouldn't be able to gain access to him in a situation where he was passed out and they need to break
You
in the
mean
door.
breach equipment, like not in an IT sense, in a like blow the doors off,
As in,
kind
like,
of
blow the
thing.
bloody doors off.
Yeah,
Yes,
like,
exactly right.
Stack up, stick the grenade,
breach
the
charge.
C4 to the door.
So there was that. Kash Patel is also known to spend a lot of time carousing on his private jet at taxpayer expense, visiting his girlfriend, who's absolutely not a Mossad operative, and a honeypot, and is definitely someone who would hook up with a guy like Kash Patel for sure. And so he spends his weekends in Vegas at the Bunny Club or something like that. He's regular, which everyone knows you love going to Vegas on the weekend
For the articles.
sober. Yeah, for the article. I read it for the articles. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
right.
You go
So,
to the Bunny Club for the articles.
very good. Hot on the references today. I would not have pulled the John Hinckley thing. Like, you had it there in the chamber, ready to go. In
I
the
did
chamber,
just-
so to speak.
I
So
also
to
did
speak.
just listen to a podcast about John Hinckley and Jodie Foster and the whole taxi driver thing, so it was at the front of the mind.
Yeah. He was trying to impress Jodie Foster when he tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan.
Deeply creepy.
Yeah. And he's out. Kash Patel, obviously, as Twin Rotors is saying in the chat, smashed Patel, which is good.
That's good. That's up there with Pete Keg's breath. That's
Yeah.
there's some great names coming out about these people.
Yeah, liquor cabinet, including Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Keg's breath, and smashed Patel. This is seemingly a recurring pattern. There's been instances documented in this article where people have tried to like wake Kash up and are unable to. They've had to delay morning meetings because he's like too hungover. Like, and the thing is, like, the FBI director job is very much how do I say this? It's like real important.
Guys,
It's like a job that you kind of need to be like sober for. It's like, sir, a second plate has just hit. The second plate has just hit the tower. Is like, are you fucking kidding me? What are you talking about? Like, you can't be
Yeah.
shit faced in that role, basically ever. Like, your job is to be 24/7
guys,
director of the FBI, right? Like,
listen, we don't understand the stress he's probably
the pressure.
under,
And that's why he
pressure.
went to Milan and got shit faced at the hockey team, because he's under
look,
so much pressure and
Under
pressure
so
and
much
stress.
pressure, so much stress. And this is the thing, when you're at work and it's a stressful work environment, obviously working in that cabinet's not going to be easy. Trying to just make sure that the Daddy Trump is impressed and happy with you all the time.
But that's what he
hard.
does.
It's a hard life.
As Twin Rotors said, like, his main claim to fame is being a podcaster who wrote obsequious, children's books about King Trump. Like, the man is just like whatever qualified for this role would look like. It's not Kash Patel.
Yeah.
He had like a very minor role, working in the security services years ago, and like that's it. Like the director of the FBI role is I can't believe I need. As I said, 38,000 people are employed by this agency. It oversees investigations into organized crime, drugs, child
they're
trafficking.
like the highest, like law enforcement, bar the military coming
domestically
in, right?
in the United States. Like, it is the agency that is worldwide renowned for being like top tier, top of its class for investigations. If you see a shitty new procedural crime show come on Paramount Plus, chances are 1 in 3 chances the person's an FBI agent because they're meant to be like the best of the fucking best. Right?
No, see, that's normally the plot line for those TV shows is that it's about like the regular detectives that we're dealing with, and then the fucking FBI gets called in and they've taken the case from us, and like, they've called in the FBI, it's their jurisdiction now, and but they're just like, they're not following the right leads, and
could you ever imagine a cop being annoyed that like the FBI took
FBI's
something off their plate? They're like, no, it's my case. Like, no, they wouldn't be like, great, I've got 10 murders to solve still. Can you please fucking take this, please?
What I don't understand about any of these cabinet members, stressing like, I mean, there's been a few sort of, what was the one that actually? So there's been two that have left now, 3.
There's a couple. So there was Kristi Noem, there was Pam Bondi, and just recently this week we didn't.
What was the earlier one?
It was like
that was a senator. That was a senator. That was
Secretary of Labor, because she was like, again, also getting drunk and like sexually harassing her employees, and like her husband and father were also sexually harassing the Bureau of Labor's employees and all this sort of weird shit. Like,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is who I'm thinking of, but she wasn't actually a member of cabinet.
She wasn't a member of the cabinet, but she has turned against Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a huge MAGA person.
Anyway, my point being is, we saw what happened in the first term, and it was like we measured things in Scaramucci's. So,
roughly 10 to 11 day rotations of the carousel clowns, right?
So when you joined this administration, why did you think it would be different?
They kept it reasonably tight for the first year, right? They didn't.
Why did you think that you would not be literally like you're the fall guy? If you're taking the secretary position, you're the fall guy.
Yeah.
Like, Trump's not going to take the fall guy. You're the fall guy.
You think about it from Pete Hegseth's perspective, right? Like, here's someone who is just uniquely unqualified for the job, right? He only exists there because of his relationship and his obsequiousness to Trump. So that's exactly, if you say you were a fascist, that's exactly the kind of guy that you would want in a position of power like that, because he owes everything to you. So like Trump 2.0, they've rebooted with none of the adults in the room that were round one. So Trump's whole thing is
resynced.
Yeah. Redux. He launched in incognito mode this time, and decided to only appoint people who would be his toadies. And that way, the understanding, I guess, from his side was that, well, I can completely rely on these people. Loyalty is the most paramount virtue I have, and these people will be completely loyal to me, because there's no way that Pete Hegseth would have been Secretary of Defense but for me. The thing is, when you appoint people, podcasters like Kash Patel and his 2IC, Dan Bongino, fucking Megamind Dan Bongino, to this fucking Minecraft head looking motherfucker to be your 2IC for the FBI.
Oh my god, he does look like Megamind.
He looks like the man's got a big head.
I was just like, what are you talking about? Oh my god, he does.
But the man does not have a 4 head, he has a 5 head. And when you appoint people like this, the thing is, they might be loyal, but they're completely inept. So like the whole structure of the government is going to fall apart because it's being run by this kleptocratic, completely inept class of losers, right? It's not the B team, it's like the Z team.
I understand all that, but I guess what I'm getting at here is like, so Trump's going to make those decisions based on that framework.
Yeah.
Like, these people are too stupid to realize that they're being played, is my point. They've signed up for this because...
Yeah, or they think or they don't care. They're like, okay, well, great, I'll have the role for 2 years and then I'll go, work at JP Morgan and just land on a couple $1 million a year for the rest of my life because I've got like access to the Republican, administration or whatever. Or they think, I really do think a bunch of them think like, I can outsmart this guy. He's not so fucking smart. He's not that brilliant. I can talk him into whatever I do. And there's been examples of, like Pete Heg. I keep getting Pete Hegseth and Pete Kegsbreath confused in my brain now. Pete Kegsbreath, Secretary of War Crimes, basically got the head of the Navy ousted this week because he was in Trump's ear, little Grima worm tongue going, see, Master, he's no good. He doesn't like you, Master. He's not sufficiently MAGA, Master. And then he got him kicked out because he wasn't on board with Hegseth's vision of how the war in Iran should be playing out. He was a natural potential successor. He was a natural potential successor to Pete if he gets ousted. And so all of these guys, all of these weird little men are trying to protect their own little personal fiefdoms and thinking that they're the one that can be the Trump whisperer. They're the one that can whisper in his ear and make things happen. And to a certain extent, that's true. Trump tends to believe the last person who was speaking to him because he has the memory of a goldfish, because he's got frontotemporal dementia. But the problem is like, as soon as your needs do not align with Trump's needs, he will throw you under the bus. So this is what happened with Kristi Noem, right? Like there is no tricking him into doing something that's not in his own best interest if his own best interest is throwing you the fuck under the bus if he needs to. So they think they can outsmart him, some of these people, I think, but they're wrong. Not that he's smart. He was just like, you're the sacrificial lamb, as Adam said.
And also, how dare you? Goldfish have great memories. That whole thing's a myth.
All right, well, there you go.
Trump has a worse memory than a goldfish. You're bringing the internet
commenters into the actual
because goldfish have a good memory.
Yeah.
Speaking of myth, Mythos is
very good.
A new.
Oh no, hang on. I've got the clip of Kash Patel at the thing. Do you want to see the clip?
We should have led with that. All right. Okay.
Show me the clip. I want to see the clip. So
you've got the clip. I haven't got. The clip.
Okay. Well, no, you know what I mean. So this is Kash Patel at a press conference at the White House, just having a go at the media, which is a bit of fun.
Login issue. You were not able to log into your lawsuit contends that you were not able to log into the system. What did you think after you were unable to log into the system?
Let's have a survey. How many of you people believe that's true? Hang on.
Did you communicate?
You asked the question. Let me answer it.
No. Did you communicate with anyone that you thought you were fired after you were unable to log into
the problem with you and your report? Don't cut me off. You asked the question. The problem with you and your baseless reporting is that is an absolute lie. It was never said. It never happened. And I will serve in this administration as long as the president and the attorney general want me to do so. And every time you guys report false lies, every time you guys raise baseless questions, when we are here to talk about the Southern Poverty Law Center's $3 million decade-long scheme to fraudulently fleece Americans, you are off topic.
Did you talk to anybody about whether you thought
the simple answer to your question is you are lying, and every time you do so, I've answered your question. It's simply as follows. I was never locked out of my systems. Anybody who says anyone that says the opposite is lying. Thank you.
Man, stop. You're being extraordinarily rude. And I know maybe that's part of your profession, but please just stop.
Oh my God, they're such babies. Like, especially because it's one thing, like, it's not a no. Like, you're just saying my answer to your yes or no question is you're lying. But especially if, like, files tendered in court. Like,
his own lawsuit, Kash Patel's lawsuit that he launched as a result of this, literally admits
I was locked out of my system.
Right, exactly.
So it's crazy. And just for them to be like, it's so rude. Shut up.
It's so rude.
Such babies. Such babies.
Speaking of Mythos, the Anthropic's new AI frontier model, Mythos, currently in a research preview, is freaking everyone the fuck out. So, so we're getting Twin Rotors in the chat saying, is this the press conference where they were investigating a charity for exposing the KKK? Yeah, so this is a whole other chat for another time, but the Southern Poverty Law Center basically revealed that they'd been paying people for informants on, so it's a group that helps to expose, fascism and
members of outlawed organizations like the KKK.
Yeah, and they run reports on these far right groups are doing XYZ, and they should be labeled as such and all that sort of stuff. It seems like a pretty sensible organization from what I've read about it in the past. But I think the staggering fact was that they've been paying informants, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars for this information, right? So, and that was kind of like, oh, see, it's the woke left mafia coming after Trump, and it's like, well, they're coming after the KKK, but I mean, you kind of telling on yourself there, but
you're
sort of
really telling on yourself there.
Anyway, so it's a nothing manufactured scandal meant to gin up the far right and just get Fox News to talk about anything except Iran and or Epstein.
Right. Well, speaking of telling on ourselves, back to Mythos.
So those who are familiar with Anthropic will know their Claude models, and some of the controversy and debate that they stir up online in various Reddits and subreddits of people talking about agentic coding and what's good and what's not, and usage limits and all this sort of stuff. Claude has the newest Claude model is called Mythos, and it's meant to be, as Dario Amodi has sort of has said, is basically it's so powerful at coding that if we release this out into the wild, basically no system is safe from cybersecurity attacks, because
it just breaks. It's cybersecurity as we know it. Is what they're claiming.
So what it does, just to be very specific here, is that it is able to find vulnerabilities in software or other coding, that security vulnerabilities specifically, or coding vulnerabilities that can
just
be turned
coding
into exploits.
It's so good at coding that it can find all of these zero-day vulnerabilities that have been sitting there that people trawling over all of these millions of people trawling over millions of programs haven't been able to find. Right?
There is a project called Project Glasswing, which is basically a partnership between Anthropic and various partners, which I guess my understanding is that it was meant to be a defensive project. So let's find ways that we can improve security, and this was sort of a byproduct of it.
So now, basically what they've done is they've released this model in a research preview to Microsoft, Amazon Web Services,
40 companies,
all of these companies that are part of the critical infrastructure of the internet, that have basically said, hey,
US companies
patch your vulnerabilities now, because like a single run of this is so good that they can basically, if a member of the public was using this, they would be able to find these vulnerabilities immediately. And they said that they found X amount of hundreds or thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities.
Well, there
right
is,
off the bat.
I mean,
a zero-day vulnerability, by the way, is like a vulnerability in the system that's been 0 days since anyone has like publicly been made aware of it, right? So it's like
the initial
potential
test they
hack.
did was actually on a vulnerability, like the test that they did on it, which is where some of this reporting started, it was on a vulnerability that was like 17 years old. But and then there's talk around, how much did they spend to find that vulnerability, like 20,000 worth of like refinements, but then the actual search itself costs like $5. So like there's talk around the cost of it, but I think now it's gotten to a point where they've got it to a point where it can basically scan coding to find these vulnerabilities now.
And to be clear, I do think it is in the interest of the CEOs of these companies to emphasize how potentially dangerous their models might be, because it gets them a bunch of earned media and makes people think like, oh, well, Anthropic must have the best damn AI on the market if it's going to like ruin cybersecurity. Like that's
also
good for them from a marketing perspective,
and if it's that much of a risk, why would you talk
Why
about
release it? Just don't release it then.
Well, they haven't released it. To be very clear, they have not released it.
They've released it in a research preview to 40 companies.
Yes.
With the understanding that you need to patch your vulnerabilities now, because when we release this publicly, and we will release it publicly.
No, they've said that they're thinking they're not going to. But anyway, that's still TV.
I was going to say, they don't have to. That's why I was saying, like, speaking of telling on ourselves, we don't... How about you just don't? Like, rather than treating it as inevitable, they're like, it's the... I feel this is the... Although, then again, the other argument, now that I remember it, was that, the discussions around this have been, we being Anthropic, have created this model... And they suspect they are X amount of time ahead of, say, OpenAI,
which
achieving
is,
this kind of like
Yeah.
this kind of model.
OpenAI's Codex, whatever it is, 5.5
Yeah.
just released. People
Like,
saying
they're saying
it's,
we
it's,
are
it's
ahead
the
of-
new cutting
Yeah.
edge now in terms of what's publicly available.
Yeah,
right?
so they're saying we are ahead of, like, Mythos is ahead of these companies by, I don't know, 6 months, 1 year, whatever. Like, they're like, oh,
But you're
well,
talking
could
about a
be
rate of
even
doubling,
less.
which has gone from
Yeah.
like 7 months. The power of these models, the frontier AI models, doubles every 7 months to now they reckon it's closer to every 4 months. Like, we're talking about a rate of acceleration, which is
Yeah.
is starting to look,
But so
you
that's
know,
my
like
point.
exponential, right?
That's my point as to where the point they're making probably in terms of the whole Project Glasswing thing of like, it's not so much that Anthropic has discovered like, it's not like they're Oppenheimer who's discovered the nuclear bomb and we can stop this right now. It's more the argument they would have made then of, if we know how to make this nuclear bomb now, how close are the Germans to doing it? So we kind of just have to do it, right? And protect ourselves, right?
Except
Because
there was
if
a
we don't
war
do
on.
it, they will. Like,
But there was a war on. Like, that's the
Exactly.
difference. Is like there was something driving the arms race. Whereas like now you've got all these competing frontier AI companies like driving the arms race with the idea that they want to win the arms race to prevent the war. Like, it's such circular fucking logic.
Oh
It
yeah,
doesn't
it's
make
that
any
thing
sense.
of
It's
like,
snake
can't,
eating its
can't
own
we
tail.
all? Yeah, can't we all see that maybe creating a model like this would be dangerous? So let's all just not do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's been a lot of chatter online of like, well, have threat actors already gained access to this model?
Oh yeah, when's it gonna leak?
I think no matter what the case is, the implication is in the next couple of years, it's going to move in this direction one way or the other.
When you've just got competing
and
AIs
you've
fighting
got to-
ever defensive AIs fighting ever more sophisticated offensive AIs and just like a
Well-
continually escalating arms race.
What it means is that like companies, in particular companies, because like keep in mind, like the software that we're talking about here, like the ways in which cybersecurity works is that the targets are generally companies. Individuals can be targets, but generally speaking, companies are targets for cybersecurity threat actors. So what that means is that those companies have to be able to patch things very quickly. So it just means that the cybersecurity controls that the companies that are exposing data that have data, or even their own information, financial information, whatever it may be, like they've got to get better cybersecurity controls around patching. It's the only way to, at this stage, to fix it. Or there are other controls as well you can put in place in terms of how to get access and that kind of thing. But
The thing is, like, the potentiality for this already exists with existing agentic AI coding models. Like, Anthropic just launched Claude Opus 4.7. Like, these are models which are highly, depending on who you ask on Reddit, they have varying opinions on how good one model is opposed to the previous model. But, like, these are models that are already exceptionally capable of coding and reviewing code, and like every other large language model, could be hijacked in order to produce something that falls outside of its guardrails if you're clever enough with your prompting, if you're able to do so. So it's like they're talking about this as though it's like some potential future state that we might unlock in the near future, but it's like you're already providing tools that are like pretty good at doing the thing that you're profess to be concerned about now. Like, if someone wanted to use Opus 4.7 in a way to create a script that could, breach some sort of vulnerability that's been identified, you can do that now if you want to, if you're clever enough. And there's all these open source models with open weights.
Yeah.
Like the strongest frontier model, the open source models that you can get now are basically where the frontier models were 6-9 months ago. So it's like we're now heading towards a situation where people have got local models stored on their computer with open weights that they can tinker with, that is completely outside of the company's control.
Yeah.
You can get it to do whatever the fuck you want,
Yeah.
right? So
This is my point, is that
6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
So it's like that's
This is my
completely
point, is
off-grid.
that
there's no
in
guardrails.
the next couple of years, it doesn't matter what model's doing what, because they'll all be equally capable of doing this kind of thing. So it's the
Like
product
an
is
average
irrelevant.
local model of next year is going to be as good as Opus 4.6
correct.
is now, is my point, right?
Um,
So the abilities to like democratize access to coding and create new things and all that sort of wonderful stuff. Yeah, that's going to be out there, but also the threat actors are going to be there as well, right? Because there's even way more of an incentive for them to do stuff than me, a hobbyist, making some dinky little project on Claude Code because I think it's fun.
So, what does that mean for you as a random listener, a consumer? Be very careful about what data you put into the company portal. Be very careful about, what you sign up for on the internet. Because I'll tell you now, there are a lot of companies out there that are, they're small. They haven't got a lot of resources. They haven't got massively awesome cybersecurity controls. They're trying to grow quickly, or they're just trying to make a buck. And cybersecurity when you're a startup is not always the first thing in mind. And even when you're not a startup, even when you are a Medibank or a large organization,
a mature organization,
humans are generally the weak point, and humans are fallible. So have a think about that when next time you're signing up for something online.
And also, any of your apps just prompt that there's a new update, maybe update it. Because it probably contains any of the patches that all these companies have been making following Project
and a lot
Glasswing.
of infrastructure. A lot of these systems, government systems, older systems, still run on like old editions of Windows XP and shit, because that's they haven't been able to do a whole sort of cyber infrastructure upgrade because it would cost tens of millions of dollars to uproot the whole system. So you got like government services running on like old, very extremely exposed versions of Windows, which are no longer being updated, or even older programming languages like fucking Cobalt and things like that from
I remember
the 80s.
I remember when
there's just to maintain them as its own, just to keep it running as its own fucking project, let alone upgrading it and updating it to the latest fucking patch, right?
I remember when I was working in property settlements. This is over a decade ago, but it was like 2014, right? Windows. What were we up to then? Windows 10, maybe?
8.1 probably. I think
something
10 was 2015.
Anyway,
so,
but the point being was, there were banks that I would go to, and they were still printing checks on DOS.
Yeah.
DOS-based software.
That's what I mean.
Because
DOS, unhackable. Can't hack DOS.
Unhackable.
It's too old.
because it's too old. Yeah, exactly right. It's not even hooked up to the fucking internet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's a scary world out there, but it's on a long enough timeline. Everything's fine.
Yeah,
I actually don't know if this model is as capable as they say it is, and they release it to the public.
I don't think they will.
I have real concerns about, because the key point in this article from the ABC is that key Australian institutions, like the ones we've just sort of been talking about, our utilities, our water, our electricity, our banks, are not exposed to this research preview, don't have the benefit of this ability to preemptively patch their systems defensively in order to close these gaps.
It depends what their systems are, I suppose, because the companies that have been exposed in Glasswing are companies like Microsoft, who have their Azure cloud platform, Amazon with AWS cloud, all that sort of stuff. So if their services are built to be running on Azure or AWS or whatever, then those security patches are the ones that are going to come in. Obviously, there's their own code, maybe.
Yeah, but no one has a pure tech stack. No one just has all of their services with one of these providers and nothing else. Your tech stack is all about, piecing together, these services from different providers to provide the exact service that you're providing for your clients, right? So if you're using some custom piece of software that Speedy Pete down the block built and added to this thing 14 years ago, and it's this big house of cards, everything else is built on that, and no one's ever looked at the piece of code that Speedy Pete put together because we've never needed to.
But then Mythos
that could compromise your whole fucking system. Exactly right.
Mythos notices the vulnerability in it. I was at the Microsoft AI conference this week in Sydney, and I was surprised how little mention there was about the Mythos news or anything like that. I expected some. I wasn't at a lot of talks that had Q&As, so I didn't get the chance to kind of ask it of anybody. But I was wondering, is anyone going to be talking about hey, you got to be like, because obviously it's selling AI, right? Like,
Yeah,
the whole
'cause
point
they
of the
want- they
festival
want it
is
to be a positive
selling it to be
story.
convincing like businesses to like adopt more AI practices. But I thought maybe you could angle it of like, you need to adopt these AI practices because Mythos is coming, and the AI will help you protect your business from
But
Mythos,
that's the thing.
right?
It's like these AI provide, like these
Yeah.
frontier models, like sort of sticking the gun into your back and going, man, it's a nice spine that you got there. It'd be a shame if something happened
Yeah.
to it. I've got something like I could sell you that will help you ameliorate
thing is I don't-
the gun that I've got this gun that I've got sticking into your back, right?
I don't think the concept of defense, like the revenue model of how these models could be the revenue model of how these models could be used to help businesses hasn't been, I think, very well thought out yet.
I saw some examples at the conference. I saw how Starbucks apparently uses AI, which I thought was a bit silly. Like, on the one hand, there's like the ability to automate shift management or something was an example. Like, like, oh, it knows the schedule, it knows which employees are available at this time, and it'll ping them maybe with a text message to be like, can you fill this shift? And if they reply yes, then it automatically fills the schedule. I was like, okay, yeah, that's one way to do it, I suppose. But then another one was like, if one of the I forget what they actually call their baristas in Starbucks. They have some other name for it because, of course, they do.
Coffee specialists.
Coffee engineers.
But yeah, like one of them just going like, "What's the recipe for a fucking macchiato or whatever it is they make?" And it came up with the recipe. And it's like telling them how to make it and maybe suggest pairing it with a lemon cake. And I was like, you need an AI to tell you
Just
that?
Google
Like,
it. Just
one,
write it down. Just the
one,
recipes
you
on
should-
the wall.
You should maybe know the recipe because
you're
you
a
work
barista.
there.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, just say, can I, like, hi, and would you like anything else with that? I'd feel a bit weird. Like, you know what pairs well with the coffee you just got? The lemon cake.
A
I'm just like,
Barossa
I don't-
Valley Shiraz pairs really well. With
I
that.
don't. That's not something that
That
we
becomes-
need to be like burning some LLM data
Are
center
you just getting
power to do.
really back
right?
to the core of customer service, which is asking what's your action objective and obstacle in any given
Or
customer
here's an
interaction?
idea. Maybe like talk to the person and like ask them a question.
No,
and
you gotta
just,
have an
like-
angle. You gotta have an angle.
okay.
Yeah.
No, you gotta more,
we need
George.
to-
You come up to the counter, order your macchiato, and then they go, "Oh, great! How to make macchiato?"
Yeah, it's that sketch with the two guys talking to
And it's just giving the
ChatGPT
thing.
because
Can you
like both of
imagine
them are
your
completely
your
just
barista
unable.
starts chatting to a chatbot after you've asked for your coffee order. I don't know. I don't know why anyone thought that was a good idea. Some of the other stuff I was like, I see it, but that I was like, you don't need that. I'm sorry.
The biggest investment in human history has been made in this. in this
The
industry.
fourth
Anyway,
industrial revolution,
So, yeah.
texting to find out how to make a coffee.
2/3 of all the capital expenditure that happened in the United States in the last financial year was all about data center build out, right? Which
Did
is
we
why I
solve
can't
world
get-
hunger? Don't worry about
No,
it.
don't worry
No,
about
don't
it. It's
worry
fine. We circled the moon, which is why I can't get 2 RAM sticks for less than $1,000 and a hand job.
Hey,
But
don't
that's
you
fine.
blame the moon circling thing? That was fucking awesome. The AI
No, no,
shit's
no,
why you
that's
can't
the
buy
AI,
RAM.
yeah,
the
it's
the
the
moon
RAM
shit is
shortage,
awesome, and I will die on that hill.
The thing is, I'm a proponent. Like, I think it's I work for a company that integrates AI as part of its offering. Like, I see the utility of using AI for discrete business purposes in specific ways with controls and human in the loop. And like, I think it can benefit knowledge workers and make them smarter and better and more efficient. But then you hear about that where it's like they put ChatGPT in a teddy bear and now it's like telling kids how to like cut themselves or whatever. It's like, well, why? Why would you do that? Like,
Yeah,
that's not a good
makes
use
no
of the
sense.
thing.
It was
Just because we've got a
yeah.
new tech, you don't put solar in a teddy bear because it's the newest fucking technology. Like, some things belong in certain things. Like,
yeah,
what?
it was a big takeaway I got from the conference was that we are still figuring out, and that was the sentiment being pushed as well, is to figure out how it could improve your business. Not just put it in everything, but how, like, what's a good use case for it, because it's not good for everything. Which I thought was big of the conference in a way, given it's the sales festival-y one. But yeah, it's exactly that. It's I think we as an economy are trying to figure out how AI fits into it in a way that's useful, but a lot of companies are doing it by going, well, cool, well, oh, great, AI, get rid of a bunch of people and use AI instead, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
save money. Yeah,
I think there's a lot of organizations out there that are like, man, our structures, our internal systems are a mess. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. Our people aren't trained. The whole thing is a mess. Just like whack some AI on it, right? Like, I know that's obviously not going to work to like fix the underlying structural problems of any business, which is why you see all this like widespread reporting of like X amount of percentages of AI pilots fail, and it's like because the management are just like desperate for a solution to X problem, and whatever the problem is, they just go, well, we'll just whack some AI on it, and hopefully that'll help. And it's not considered, it's not thought out, it's not rolled out properly, it doesn't get the buy-in of the people that you would actually need to buy into it in order to get them to adopt it and use it properly. It's just like poorly thought out. People just go whack some AI on it. Before it was whack some fucking, metaverse on it. Before that, it was whack some fucking cryptocurrency on it. It's the latest thing on the block. And whilst it is a genuinely helpful piece of technology, the ways that it is getting implemented at a lot of organizations is not very thoughtful as well.
No,
it's like,
they're throwing it at the wall and seeing what
Here's
sticks.
Copilot, be more efficient. I want my 8% returns year on year. Be more efficient. And it's like, well, that's not going to work, right?
Well, one way to be more efficient and save a whole bunch of money, tell disabled people to get fucked, because the government is just going to be kicking in about 160,000 people plus off the National Disability Insurance Scheme
by the end of the decade. Because
if it's one group of people that totally has had it too good for too long, it's people living with disabilities.
The disabled comes to mind. Yeah, 100%.
I bastardized that joke a little bit from James Acaster. He says it about trans people, but I feel it also applies in this case.
So let's talk about specifics before we go ranting on feelings.
That felt unnecessarily directed at me.
Why am I copying strays over here?
You don't know if you don't know that there's fucking pre-reading for this podcast. Okay, it's a flipped schoolroom. Okay, I'm not gonna fucking tell you everything. I'm assuming that you've come having done the reading, and then you get me to yell my opinions at you. Okay.
I mean, you say that, but a listener in the chat did just say, "Hi guys, new here. Have you talked about gas export taxes yet?"
Not yet.
It's in the rundown, but hey, they've done the reading. Anyway,
we will get there very soon.
Yeah, Adam, please take us through the NDIS.
So the NDIS. Look, there is a problem with the NDIS. It is the costs of running the scheme are ballooning exponentially.
And they started talking about this under the Morrison government, how they were going to kneecap the NDIS, and Labor threw a fit and said, no, not over our dead bodies. And then now we get a Labor government, and the Labor's like, actually, it is really bad. It is. We gotta cut this thing to its knees.
It was growing. I don't know the exact number, but it was like 10 to 15% or something year on year. It was getting
I don't know if that's quite right, but anyway, keep going.
It was a lot.
The
so basically, what they're trying to do is trying to get it down to like 5 or 6%. So, well, actually, I think they're trying to get it even lower than that, down to like 2%. But the point being here is the way they're planning on doing this is changing the way you get access to the scheme. So currently, and I'm going to, the NDIS is a very complicated beast. Last time we talked about the NDIS, there were a lot of feedback that we had. But basically, the way it's been reported is that classification or eligibility for the scheme is dependent on your diagnosis. Okay, so you get, let's say, as a really bad example, you are disabled and you can't walk. So you have that particular diagnosis, and you get a certain amount. The response is automatic in terms of what support you get. But obviously, with physical impairment, there are varying degrees of how much support you actually need. So the concept that the government is trying to do here is, well, we're actually going to... they haven't developed it yet. They're going to develop a tool, quote unquote, by 2028, which will...
Let's get Mythos to do it.
Yes, I mean, you say, will we use AI for these kind of things? I bet you there'll be some sort of AI integration, this kind of thing.
Yep.
but basically, there'll be an assessment process where they go through, they work out how much support you need, and they provide, but based on certain
It's
revised
needs-based.
criteria, needs-based.
But the thing is, like, my understanding of people that, like, I've got a friend of mine who's got a kid that receives support from the NDIS, is there are a lot of these assessments already baked into the support that his kid receives. Like, it's not just kind of like, okay, your kid's got autism, like, great,
And you get
get
an
like
automatic
a million
amount,
autism
yeah.
bucks, like,
Yeah.
automatically. There's assessments and reassessments, and there's,
This
like,
is the way they're
ongoing-
trying to sell it, I guess, is the issue, right?
The impression I
Like-
get is that it is already, very specific in terms of what support you are able to get based on the severity of the disability already. So, because this kind of suggests, I'd love to see the policy, right? I'd love to see the document go, here's what it is now, here's
Show us
what we're
the
changing it to, because I get the impression that that is a cover for them to say, oh, no, we're only giving the money to people who really, really need it now. Like, before, we were just like fucking crazy. We're like, you get some cash, you get some cash. We were Oprah with the cars under the seat. We were just like, you got a disability, here's some cash. And now we're like being fiscally responsible about it. It's like, that's not ever how the government works. The government is never like, have a bunch of free, unmeans tested money. I'm sorry, like, that's just not my experience interacting with the government ever, right? So,
well, the other thing is,
skeptical.
apparently there's, and Morrison said this as well, there's shonks and crooks that have corrupted the scheme and that are, getting diagnoses for things and cashing in the money. And
I'm sure there
again,
are.
I
There's
don't-
this
I
whole
don't really
cottage
know
industry
what
of
it is.
people that, because the system is so complicated to navigate, there's like basically like a consultant that you can hire who's like your case manager person, and they'll navigate the complexity of the system for you to help make sure that you get the support that you need for your specific situation. So like immediately, if you think like the system is so complicated that a person navigating it on them by themselves is like simply unable to
it
successfully
necessitates
navigate
a
it.
whole job,
Right.
Like, it's like taxes, right? And accountants.
And you the person receiving the support, like, pay them out of the money that you receive from the government. So there's this whole like secondary consultant class layer, and you could absolutely see a situation where those people are shonky or not representing the best interests of the people that they're supposed to report, and because these are disadvantaged disabled people who may not be able to advocate for themselves, they might be taken advantage of. This doesn't ameliorate any of that. It's just reducing the number and the amount of people that are getting supported, and just going, oh, you get support now. You're disabled enough to need support now, but in 18 months you won't be.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
good
my
luck.
that's
insane.
always that was my impression of it as well. To be like, okay, like, you can argue to the cows come home as to whether or not there are people like either mooching off it or dodgy actors or whatever, which I doubt it's as bad
This
as
is
they
how
say
Mark
it
Butler
is.
tried to sell it on the National Press
yeah.
Club. He's like, we're just making it more efficient. And I
Yeah,
was like,
but the idea of like
It's the same neoliberal
with-
bullshit that the Liberal Party was spinning fucking 6 years ago. It's nonsense.
But with
They
just a
it's
list
getting
of-
too expensive. That's all they care about. They say they see number go up on the budget. They go, fuck, that's a big number. We got to get that number down. And now they're cloaking it in this idea of fairness and equality and transparency and means testing,
Well-
yada yada. The reason more people are accessing these services is because more people need them. Right? So if we are going to quote unquote save money on the program, that necessitates people who are currently getting help getting fucked. That's the only way you save money on a program like this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's essentially that's what I was about to say. That like there are these 160,000 people that they're estimating are not going to be on it anymore. Oh, they no longer need the support.
Have you tried not being disabled?
It's like,
Well, what-
oh,
well,
great.
what the
Hey,
government
have you
has
tried getting
said-
up from the wheelchair? Maybe your legs have gotten better in the intervening years.
Yeah.
In a classic case of federalisation and the Commonwealth working as intended, the federal government has gone, it's actually the state's responsibility to look after.
It's the states. Why didn't I think about it? Malaka, it's the fucking
Healthcare.
states.
It's in the Constitution.
Out of there,
States have
Malaka. You
to
should have
look
gone to the
after
fucking
healthcare.
states for your federal program. Why did I think of that?
There
Yeah,
are
but-
states. What's the actual wording? It's like state-based support mechanisms or something.
Yeah.
is the quote. Something like that.
I don't know. It's just crazy. I think just to be like, okay, so we want to spend less on this, and the cost of that is 160,000 plus people no longer getting the support they're currently getting. Just to be like, okay, great. So hang on, yeah. So you're fine with your level of like dignity, being stripped away, right? Like for the support that you need to continue living your life the way that you're living it. Whilst like, yeah, they see spending in this area going up and they're like, oh fuck, we got to get this number down. But I bet we see spending in defense going up and they're like, sick, we got to pump those numbers up.
Yes, and that is the
To our next story.
juxtaposition of this. And this happened a week prior. So to be clear, they announced this defense thing first, and then they announced the
Yeah, well, because it would look fucking cooked if they did it the other way around, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's not like they don't know these things at the same time when they're planning these things.
What do you mean?
The,
Yeah,
the
one
budget
after the
gets
other.
developed all together. It's not like they're just firing off different pieces of it one at a time, right?
Yeah.
So
So on that note, given that we've saved some money, now that there's some money in the banana stand, what should we spend it on? Defense spending to lift by 53 billion, billion with a B, over the next decade as government warns of intensifying risks. An additional $53 billion will go into Australia's defence capabilities over the next decade. The government will publish the latest national defence strategy, which charts the strategic risks the country faces and the funding needed to meet those challenges. Government says defence spending will climb to 3% of GDP by 2033 under NATO measurements as it faces pressure from abroad on spending.
You know what's funny is it is almost a 1-to-1 difference, because defense spending, they have here this article from the ABC. So yeah, the 53 billion over the next decade.
Different time scale.
How are they going to pay for it?
No.
How are they
Here we
going to pay
go.
for it,
Here we go.
Tom?
George,
How are they going to
George.
pay for it?
Well, I'll tell you, because the $53 billion over the next decade injection includes a $14 billion lift over the next 4 years.
Yes.
And the NDIS changes are projected to save the budget $22 billion over the forward estimates and avoiding a $13 billion projected blowout. Now, those are some
Apparently-
pretty
So
close
this Labor
billions.
government, this nominally leftist progressive Labor government, which is just a centrist government with a red tie on, is telling you that there's not enough money for your fucking wheelchair, but we've got money for missiles. And that's horseshit. What is the fucking point of government? What is the point of you if you're not going to look after your citizens? This is not like me being some like radical socialist, Zoran Mamdani, tax the rich. This is just like normie leftist progressive governments in that like Paul Keating would look at this government and spew in his fucking boots, right? Over what this government is doing.
He's not dead yet. He could be spewing at his boots.
Well, he could be spewing it. I haven't asked
could,
him.
yeah.
One assumes. But the point is like, the leftist, the Labor governments of 20, 30 years ago, if they saw this, they'd be like, it's the fucking coalition. It's the exact same shit that Scott Morrison and his merry band of fucking idiots were proposing a couple of years ago. So what is the point of voting for a Labor government if you're just going to get fucking coalition policies anyway?
So part of the way they've solved this as well, this is called the National Defence Strategy. So the last National Defence Strategy we have is in 2024. This is the new one for 2026.
You mean the NDS?
The
That's
NDS.
so fucking close to the NDIS. Are you
The
fucking
NDS
kidding
is-
me?
Yep. And part of how they're justifying these funds is that they're trying to sell off at the moment 67 defence sites around Australia, which would raise about $1.8 billion. But you'll note that there still is a difference there over the next 4 years of whatever that is, $10 billion.
Lots of fucking money.
$12 billion.
We're just counting down.
One could argue, that they are. I mean, one is probably paying for the other. I think in to some extent.
Like almost precisely. That's what I mean. It's like, we're slashing $14 billion out of NDIS spending, and we're got $13 billion, and we're spending $14 billion.
And they want to get it down to the growth of the NDIS is whatever it is, somewhere north of 5% year on year. And they're saying, we want to get it down to 2%. Well, inflation's fucking 3.5%, nearly 4%. So what you're saying is, in real terms, people that you admit today, say that they're still on the scheme. You're on the NDIS scheme. You're getting monetary support. If we are to take them at their word that they only want 2% year-on-year increases, which I don't see that happening because new people come into existence which have disabilities and need to be supported, that numbers would inevitably only grow over time as the Australian population grows, as inflation grows, as the cost for all of supplying all of these services grows.
Especially
So it
if
only
Angus
stands to
Taylor
reason.
wants us to have more Australian babies. Oh, it
Yeah,
was Matt
exactly.
Canavan, sorry, that said that, not
Whoever
Angus
it
Taylor.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's expected that spending on on all these programs will grow. But say you actually want to only limit the growth to 2%. That's below inflation. That means the people that are currently served by those programs, assuming they stay on the programs, would then in future years get served worse and worse and worse as the real dollar value support of what they're being provided goes less and less far against inflation every year. So it's like,
So the
it's
target
completely
is-
fucking ridiculous.
The target is 5 or 6%, but they're saying that under this plan it will drop to 2%, and it will rise after the end of the decade, basically. So, yeah.
Once we're out of power,
Yeah,
we don't have to
Anyway.
worry about it.
But, you know, meanwhile,
Everything's better after the decade. You know, don't worry about it. You know, you're worrying about it. Don't worry about it.
The next government's problem. Now, as Severously has pointed out in the chat,
Severiously.
Severously?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I believe severously.
Severously, yeah, we'll go with that. Has pointed out in the chat, you know, there are other revenue options available to the government, including various taxes they could leverage, such as a gas exports tax. The word on the street is that while there's been modelling done Treasury on how this may work, Anthony Albanese is probably going to
Old Yeller it.
yeah.
He's gonna Christine Ohm it. He's gonna take it out behind the shed and shoot it in the fucking head.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. So there is a Greens-led Senate inquiry, which is why it's been in the news quite a lot over the last month or so.
And Punter's Politics has been pushing this for a long time. He's
yeah,
been doing some great
and-
work in this space.
I think and David Pocock with his rippling
well.
muscles has been pushing this in a lot of videos I see on the Instagram.
The weirdest part is that the Greens and One Nation are kind of aligned on it, which is crazy to me. Like, I find this, like, the fact that the Greens and One Nation...
One Nation is
have-
just happy to get behind anything that sounds vaguely populist. They have no fucking ideological consistency around what they get behind. They're just like, oh yeah, that sounds popular. Let's go for that.
Yeah, could raise tens of billions of dollars annually by increasing the tax. There is already a tax.
Well, especially
two
considering
taxes,
prices on fossil fuels in the spot market, in the short-term market, have skyrocketed in recent weeks as a result of the war in Iran. Like, you think that the super profits that are likely to be generated from these companies would be the perfect thing to tax, but no, sadly not. I know we talked last week that there's long-term contracts and short-term contracts, and even though the short-term price is this, doesn't mean we're getting that much for it because we've got these long-term contracts and whatnot.
But also,
like,
put this into the context as well, as we're also they're trying to shore up oil supply. You can't go to the people that are giving us the oil, Singapore, Brunei, all these places, and go, by the way, give us the oil, but we're also going to throw an extra.
well, I wouldn't do it today,
tariff,
but
tax
maybe
on
next
these-
week. Wait a bit. But the point is that you can these fossil fuel companies domestically here in Australia are getting away with absolute fucking murder. Okay, if it was any other kind of company that was turning the kinds of profits that these companies were turning, we'd be taxing them. Norway has a sovereign wealth fund that is in the billions of dollars that helps to serve it's not fucking Shell's natural gas. It's our natural gas. Okay? It's our fucking resource that's getting dug up out of the ground. Why are we not the ones benefiting from it?
Shell are the ones that made the investment to dig
and the sovereign risk. And one time in the 70s, they got anxious about sovereign risk and shat their pants. And so now we give the biggest fucking sweetheart long-term deals to anyone. The Japanese, I saw this thing the other day, I think it was from Matt Bevan, where we're exporting, I think it was natural gas. We're under these long-term contracts out to the Japanese. The Japanese are then storing these... vats of natural gas, seeing when the price is up, and then going, oh, the price is up. We've got a big storage of natural gas. Let's sell it at a profit. That's called arbitrage. They are doing nothing to create the value. It's just like we agreed we were going to send them X amount per month at this price, and they've gone, yep, thanks, we'll take that, we'll store it, and then we'll sell it off when the price is high, sometimes back to Australian consumers. So we're like we're getting double tapped on this fucking gas. We're not getting what we should be paying, what we should be selling it for, and then we need to buy it back at current spot market prices. Like the amount to which the Australian public is getting fucked on this is like inconceivable. When you start seeing the numbers,
It's almost
you will
like
start
we
crying.
need a government-owned organization to do resource extraction of this country rather than private companies from other parts of the world.
Yeah. I'm being corrected by Siverously on the chat. Correction, Norway's sovereign wealth fund is now worth $3 trillion. Not just billions. I knew it was mega billions. I didn't realize it was in the fucking capital T trillions. Fucking hell.
Damn.
And the amount of money that we get from our beer excise is more than we get from, the petroleum resources rent tax on an annual basis. That is how badly Australians are getting stooged. The money that you pay for your six-pack pays for more of that money goes into government coffers than what we get on fucking natural gas. It's an absolute embarrassment. We are getting stooged in the highest possible terms. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Meanwhile, Pacific leaders have declared a fuel emergency, or have they? It's a bit unclear.
Yeah.
So
Go on.
Pacific's made up of a lot of different countries. There is a thing called the Pacific Islands Forum, and they got together a week or two ago, and they declared basically a fuel emergency. But I don't know. Apparently, there's questions around whether or not there is actually an emergency. It's like why have you declared an emergency?
So the Solomon Islands Prime Minister and current Pacific Islands Forum Chair, Jeremiah, I'm almost certainly not pronouncing this correctly, Manele, Manele, declaring that they'd invoked the Baiktawa Declaration, the Pacific's major emergency response mechanism. But 5 days after this statement, it's still not clear who endorsed the move, whether the Pacific has moved to an emergency footing, and what work is underway to help prepare the region for what could be a monumental challenge, given what's underway in Iran and this fuel crisis, right?
So they've made an announcement, but they haven't actually done anything since that. Basically, is effective.
We don't know if the emergency declaration is now in effect, what it means, what they're doing. It's all a little bit up in the air, at least at time of reporting of this article on the 23rd. So, it sounds like the other members of this troika, the group of three that sort of makes up the bigwigs of this organization, have basically all sort of agreed retrospectively that there is a crisis happening, and so they're not like that bothered by it. They're like, I mean, he's not wrong, but it doesn't sound like they've all necessarily been brought in on the process and have had some.
There were some representatives at the meeting, though, weren't there?
They said they consulted everyone that was involved in the forum. That's what they said.
Okay.
Now, as to whether they agreed that this, sort of plan of action was the unanimous decision of the entire group, or whether the Solomon Islands Prime Minister was just shooting from the hip a little bit, is a little bit unclear. Regardless, it really highlights the fact that, what we were talking about last week, the people that are going to be negatively impacted by this fuel crisis are the countries that are the least able to throw money at the problem to get themselves out of it. I saw this week that fuel prices, I was driving past a petrol station today, petrol was $1.80, which I've not seen it down at $1.80 for a while, right? So
but
clearly Australia's been very good at throwing some money at this problem, getting some additional tankers. We're getting tanker updates every day like it's fucking Corona
Diesel's
cast.
still
There's fucking 61 tankers on the way now. Like, we've got X amount of days of diesel now. We've got even more diesel than whatever it is. So talking about Australia's preparedness, because we're a rich country, we've got money to throw at the problems. Unless, of course, you're disabled, in which case go fuck yourself. But if it's for fuel, we've got money to throw at the problem. And you want the government to be doing that. You don't want the economy to grind to a halt. You want them to use our purchasing power to help enable us to weather this storm in the way that's best for us and our citizens. That's what a government is supposed to do. But that gas has to come, that fuel, that petrol has to come from somewhere. And where does it come from? It comes from the people who can't outcompete us on price, like the Solomon Islands.
You say it doesn't come
Pacific
from them.
Islands.
You're saying that we're taking potentially something
We're
that would have
taking the
been
supply that they would
earmarked.
otherwise take. So $10 million or 10 million barrels rather, plus roughly, of demand has been destroyed. in terms of what is not coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. So someone somewhere has to go without, or we all need to use less, or so, you know what I mean? Like there needs to be a reduction in consumption somewhere in order to find that equilibrium again.
Or an increase in supply.
And basically, the Western countries have said, we're not going to do that. We'll just pay more, and so someone else is going to miss out. And and it's causing if we think it's a crisis here that we have to pay $2.25 a liter rather than $1.80 a liter. Think about the Solomon Islands where they've got 1970s style lineups around the block for petrol because they just can't get it. It's not a matter of price; they physically cannot get it. So you're seeing a situation where the poorest countries are the ones that are going to bear the brunt of this because. I tell you what, if you have no fossil fuels, no petrol, no way to get your goods around, your economy stops. It physically stops.
Countries in Southeast Asia have had the same problem as well,
Yeah.
and will continue to have this problem for, I think, probably some years to come, assuming it resolves itself overnight, which it's not going to. Staying international.
Unless that blood clot starts heading north. Which blood clot? Whose blood clot? Who could he be talking about? I'll never tell.
We haven't talked about Keir Starmer in a while, but Keir Starmer, despite Labor romping at home in the last election, is potentially in a position at the moment where he is like if an election was held tomorrow, he would lose. He
is extremely unpopular at the moment. He's
and
there's been a number of things with his government. Obviously, their inability to deliver on the cost of living crisis. I would say a presentation and communication style that is most charitably described as stale, an inability to keep control of, the sort of public servants working beneath him. This whole sort of Peter Mandelson scandal where
that's the
approved,
big thing.
whether he wasn't approved and who approved him, but he failed the vetting, but he got pushed through anyway. And it was this whole, it's this whole fucking death by 1,000 cuts, right?
This is the thing to talk about, which I think is probably the big story. It's the big thing that's dominating the news in the UK is that
Peter Mandelson the winter fuel payment where they're like, we're not going to help people with their winter fuel payment because of the war in between Russia and Ukraine, and the people are like, we'll die, and he's like, all right, I guess we're going to give it to you anyway. All this like constant sort of backflipping and lack of direction. And it's just he's been an increasingly weak figure heading into this, and this Peter Mandelson scandal is maybe the thing that tips him over
it won't
the edge.
go away. There's an ongoing parliamentary inquiry, which means it's constantly in the news. But basically, Peter Mandelson is a sort of Labor kingmaker, playboy kind of guy who turns out
nickname was the Prince of Darkness, right? And had been kicked out of at least 2 prior administrations or 3 from recollection.
He been around in UK politics for a while, but was also pretty good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And that has caused a cavalcade of shit because even while we knew about all this Epstein stuff,
so the story. Sorry, just to go backwards one step. So he was appointed as the ambassador to the US by Keir Starmer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he was. So we knew about Epstein. We knew about his relationship with Epstein.
And this is public knowledge prior to his
public
appointment.
Knowledge.
There was a documentary in 2019 about it. It's just like Keir Starmer. What did you know? When did you know it? It's like, well, did you have a TV, Keir? Because I heard about that documentary. And I'm in fucking Australia, so
So anyway, that's the story, is that he got appointed as UK ambassador, and obviously people cottoned on, and it's been an absolute shit show since then. And whether or not Starmer was directly involved in it, what was known and unknown, all these sort of things are coming out to the point now where you've got backbenchers actively. Just keep in mind, there's 411 people in the House of Commons.
If you thought Canberra was gossipy, just wait till you hit Westminster.
Labor MPs, sorry, not. There's more than that in reality. People are saying to actively say that he's not going to survive to the next election, which wouldn't be until 2028 if you kept it on
the reason he hasn't been replaced
timescale.
From what I can understand, is because there's just no great figure to replace him with. Basically, it's just kind of everyone's kind of and then they're like, it's the middle of a war, this whole thing with Iran, best not do it now, sort of thing. But everyone's acknowledging that this motherfucker's on a countdown, sort of thing. The thing that his rise to power, as you say, Adam, he had Labour walloped the Tories at the last election, thundering home to victory. In the space of a couple of years, they've completely squandered that lead, and you have to wonder, like, if your whole reason for existing as a Labour Party is we're going to put an end to the Boris Johnson shonky sort of rules for thee and not for me kind of apparatus that been built with the Tories. If your whole offering is like doing away with bad government and corruption and like we're going to right the ship, we're a steady pair of hands, we're going to do things right, and then you're out in front of the Australian public, the UK public, going, oh, but like my guy didn't like tell me that he was like mates with a pedophile, and that's why I didn't. It's like, how that's your main offering that you've given to the UK public is we are a steady pair of hands that are good at governance. We're the ones who can sort of rebuild the system that the Tories destroyed over the last decade or decade and a half. To be coming back with this weak source bullshit, oh, I didn't get the fucking email, like that completely undermines your entire value proposition as the Prime Minister, doesn't it? Like, what's the point of you then?
People can sniff the weakness, so to speak. So they've got a bunch of local elections which Labor candidates run in coming up, and the expectation is that they're going to get walloped there. And we've talked about the Reform Party.
Yeah.
That's Nigel Farage and that.
Before, and it'll be interesting to see how they go in those kind of elections, because the based on polling, if an election was held tomorrow, Reform Party would be the government, which is fucking
terrifying.
Wild. But this is the
the
same country that voted to leave the EU, so go figure. Final story of the day, which is one out of Myanmar, which I came across and was a little bit like, what? Like, it's sad, and it's also kind of funny. It's stupid.
It's absurd.
Dumb.
Yeah.
It's absurd. That's the good word. So Myanmar is obviously in the middle of a civil war. The military regime took power over through their government and has been fighting, I guess, resistance from that since 2021.
So it's been a military junta for a little while, but then they sort of there's the whole thing with Aung San Suu Kyi about like potentially opening up and liberalizing, and then that kind of didn't happen, and there was this whole genocide against the Rohingya, which people might remember, and then basically they sort of put Aung San Suu Kyi back in her box, but since whatever it was, as you said, 2021, there's been this essentially a civil war playing out in Myanmar.
No, it's a fully fledged civil war. They're armed. I'm not sure who's arming them. That'd be an interesting question actually, but
it's the CIA. I ain't no fortunate son. It's just see Tom Cruise and some Ray-Bans just airdropping fucking AK-47s into Myanmar.
So obviously the military government's trying to like do different things to like stamp out the rebellion, and one of the things they have not officially announced, but it's been witnessed at checkpoints and various border crossings and river crossings, that kind of thing, is they have started banning women's menstrual products. So,
amongst a number of other important items for staying alive.
But the reasoning is that apparently that these items could be used by the rebels to help them. Is the military junta government, have they just sort of thought that tampons can be used as bandages? Because that's not how that...
I had a nosebleed once and I stuck a tampon up there. It worked a treat. So
and I think it's more like pads and things like that they've also talked about. I think the quote from here said that the military, this is from the director of Sisters to Sisters, which is a women's rights collective in Myanmar, saying that the military is saying menstrual products are used by the People's Defence Force for medical reasons and as support for their feet and boots to absorb sweat and blood. So because of that, you can't have your period products. It seems to is the military's stance.
That's wild.
Tell me your government needs more women without telling me your government needs more women. That is crazy.
That's like
insane.
This feels up there with that old NASA story. Was it NASA? I think when when they were having the first woman going into space, and they said like, okay, so you're gonna be up there for like a week or whatever it is, and they're like, but obviously we have to have some women's sanitary products. How many tampons do you need? Like 100? And they're like, what? Like, because they just have no clue.
What's a
It was like,
banana? $10?
yeah, they're just like, yeah. You need tampons if it's the time of the month. Yeah, how many do you need? We have no idea.
Google it. You're NASA. Google it.
Yeah. So,
How much does
And
it cost
I
for a liter of milk?
and I don't know. Like, so are we with this situation in Myanmar? Like, I
Apparently,
don't
there's a
know.
hidden market. There's like a black market. for
Yeah,
these
they're
things now.
claiming there's a black market. Well, yeah, there's a black market for these things, but is it a black market to get it for the troops so that they have more medical supplies, or is it just so women
No one's
can,
using it for medical
women
supplies.
can
That's nonsense.
like have menstrual products? Like,
Yeah.
I
No,
just-
we're in the war crimes era of this conflict, because there's been no official communication from the military government on this, but the blockade, thought to be part of broader efforts known as Four Cuts, which is designed to deprive insurgents of basic supplies, began in August in certain areas where opposition forces have control. Transporting pads across the bridge that connects the two areas, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, Myanmar's second largest city, is completely prohibited.
yeah.
So, I mean, when the military junta starts getting to the desperate phase of like, we can't beat them militarily, we'll starve them out. Like, that's when the real crimes against humanity tend to happen. Like, that's when the
Yeah.
really bad shit. Like, we can't beat them, so let's just like cut them off
already
and
been
starve them. Like,
Pretty bad. There's like the gender, Rohingya stuff, and like.
it's all bad.
Are we saying it's going to get worse?
It's
Is
not
that
a
what we're-
tourist destination. It's all bad, right?
3.5 million people have been forced to find shelter in temporary camps since 2021.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think the quotes here from the head of Sisters to Sisters are quite good and really hit the nail on the head, where they've just talked about how the argument that the enemy might be using this to soak up sweat and blood or to like
Nonsense.
treat gunshot wounds and all that just shows, as they put it, a quote completely uneducated misogynistic fools within the military. Like, a sanitary pad wouldn't stay in place, wouldn't soak enough blood, and wouldn't keep the area clean. I think it shows just such a misunderstanding of, I don't know, the amount of menstrual blood. Yes.
We got a gusher, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, like, you need these products.
Women, it's
these
just
pro-
like that
these
scene
products-
from Team America World Police where it's just like spraying vomit. That's what they think a woman having a period is, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like, because I mean, these products are designed to be absorbent, but like, I don't know, it's someone who's been shot bleeds a lot.
I guess you need. I guess if you've got a gaping gunshot wound, maybe you need like 3 tampons instead of just the one. Like, you just gotta use.
It's just jamming tampons into someone's gunshot wound.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no,
Christ.
a tampon is
I
not
don't
equipped
know.
for that at all.
I was like, can we make this work somehow, guys? Can we somehow?
Pull out the string! Pull out the string! Otherwise it'll get stuck!
I just
Absolutely
came across
crazy.
this story earlier this week, and I was like, that is. Like, we live
It's
in a crazy
absurd.
world. We live in this crazy
Yeah.
world, but that stuck out of me.
Like, it's absurd. Like, it's laughably absurd. But also, as Sisters points out as well, then this is just going to lead to a lot of medical complications for just women in the country if they can't get access to these products.
Necessary
because
hygiene products,
There's all these things around UTIs and like there's all these problems that
And
can,
hygiene
yeah.
is already a problem in
Yeah.
a war zone
Discomfort
where,
and pain.
where
Yeah.
resources are stretched. So you could see feasibly a situation where
Yeah.
you're causing an additional level. This is the point, is to cause a humanitarian crisis to force the rebels to, to surrender, right? Like that, the cruelty is the point.
Yeah.
And at no, I don't know, not that I'm ever aware of, does that strategy of total war ever result in anything but the immiseration of fucking everyone, right? Like historically. On that note, we have been, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. Make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias that are ruining the world, that have, do, or ever will exist, at our handle at Unnatural Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and mother flippin' TikTok. where people are really hurting my feelings online, me personally.
They're just
Make
going to
sure
do
you-
it more,
While
George, when
continually
you
posting.
admit that. Yeah,
Sorry,
when you
say
admit
again?
that. When you admit that, they're just going to do it more.
Yeah, no, I know. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at George Tsipos, or don't, or maybe just spend time with your family, go and touch some grass.
You can follow me on Threads at tom.heath.
And you can follow me down to Tom's shirt store, where I'll be picking up the latest Hawaiian paraphernalia that he's currently.
You never
wearing.
know. This
And,
time next week, we might be cracking the champers. You never know.
Yeah, I got it from a lovely shop in Collingwood, Adam. I can
Well,
I can hook
there you
up.
go. I'll follow me down there, guys.
Um,
I'll don the shirt.
Thoughts
Yeah.
and prayers for the big blood clot. Love your faces. See you guys next week.
And I must stress, if you happen to have a gunshot wound, do not shove a tampon in it.
No,
Maybe Donald Trump should take that advice.
to not.
No,
anyways,
to use the. Anyway.
We're gonna cut all this.